Woo! Alright, so what's up, guys? I want to come out today and give you a little story time. So, just try to put in perspective how good some of the best riders in the world are. I've never been to a motocross, supercross race to watch, not a pro level one, in my life. I'm pretty close to some supercross races in Nashville, Birmingham, but I've never been. However, in 2004, I was 12 years old, and oh, is that turkey? Or is that trash bag? Trash bag. So, 2004 tire. So 2004, and I'm racing my first ever motocross race. I've got a little CR80. First time my dad's took me racing. It was at Loretto, Tennessee, and it was in the city park. So not a very spectacular track in any stretch of the imagination. It was rumored, however, that somebody big was going to be showing up. I had not heard a name, I didn't know who, but somebody big was going to be showing up because they were going to be close by. So, final race of the night comes around, and we haven't seen anyone. And about 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes before the last race, which was the A-Class 250, you know, back then 450s was just coming out. So the class was still 252 stroke. You could run a 454 stroke. And no one had a 4-stroke. There was a couple, you know, kids and beginners classes with little air-cooled 4 strokes, of course, but nobody had a 454 stroke that whole event. So less than 10 minutes before the final race, A-Class 250 lines up at the gate. Here it comes. A Honda semi pulls in. So who was on this Honda semi? Clark Styles. Unless you really really closely followed motocross in the early 2000s, you probably don't have a clue who Clark Styles is. He was a good rider. He was a great rider. But he was no, Ricky Carmichael, Jimmy McGrath, James Stewart, Chad Reed type. So, but he raced pro, motocross, and supercross. And he was from Tanner, Alabama, which is not far away. So, he rolls in. As soon as they lower the door, he's got a bike fired up, and he's making his way to the gate. Because I guess somebody had called him. He knew he was cutting it close to show up for that last race of the night. So he hauls tail down to the gate. He has not seen the track prior to this, to my knowledge. I mean, he's showing up at the end of the night, certainly hasn't ridden the track, doesn't take a sight lap around the track, nothing. Rolls out of the semi at 11 o'clock at night, pulls around to the start gate. The track, for context, was turning barely sub 1 minute lap times. I on a CR80, and I sucked, was probably turning, I don't know, minute and 20-second lap times or something. So, he wheels around to the gate, and everyone just runs to the track. It's like nobody's going to miss this, right? And, even people that don't know, we just watched a semi pull in, bright red, Honda in 5-foot tall letters down the side of it. Like, nobody's going to not rush over to the track to get a good seat. So, the way the track was laid out, you made about half a lap on the opening lap and then passed back by the start gate. So anyway, there's about 8 to 10 riders in this A-Class, all on 2 strokes, except for Clark Styles. He had a 450. It's the first 450 a lot of us had ever seen, maybe outside of a dealership, if you know, a few dealers had them at that time. But we're talking 2004. It's definitely the first 450 I'd seen, like I said, not in a dealership. So Clark Styles makes his way around to the gate and pulls up to the gate. There's maybe a 5-second to 10-second count, and they drop the gate. That's how close they were waiting on him. So anyway, 5 seconds, they drop the gate. He doesn't move, doesn't flinch, does not move. And we're thinking like, oh man, he was rushed to get over there. He might have hung the gate or something. So the riders go all the way down, start straight, make a 180, come back down through some whoops, make a 90, cross in front of the track, in front of the start gate, go up a hill, make a 180, come back across the start gate, and then there's just all the way around the outside rhythm lane that connects back in. They come by the start gate, then he takes off. He was giving them a head start. So half a lap head start on a track where they're running around a 1 minute lap time. Not him, he was going to be blistering, but all the other A-class riders, the good ones, was probably just sub 1 minute lap time. So he comes around, lets them come around, half lap head start, has not seen the track, takes off. So they come back around the start straight, he takes off. It's giving them a half lap head start. On his first lap, technically his sight lap, I mean, he ain't seen the track other than what he could see of it, pulling his bike around the track to get to the start gate, which, granted, he would have got a really good look at it from where he had to go to get to the gate versus where the track is. He would have saw the whole track, but he has not ridden it. Now the rhythm section that went around the outside of the track and all the way around and connected back in to where the first turn was, this rhythm section had a double, triple, single. And it was set up to be a double, triple, single as far as how the faces, the jumps were. You know, if you was out of rhythm with that, you wasn't gonna, you know, jump what should have been a lander and get to the next one, really. It was set up double, triple, single, and the triple was very mellow on the actual third lander, and the single was a natural hill. It'd be like the hill I'm driving over now, just headed the other way. It's a natural high spot and then long slope behind it. Same way right here. Just not much of a hill or not much of a single, you know, jump, but this natural hillside. He comes around on his first lap, and when he gets to that rhythm lane, he triples, lands on the downside of the takeoff jump for the triple, and then triples to the natural hillside. Triple, instead of double, triple, single. No one had thought of that. Yeah, I mean, maybe some of the faster riders had been eyeballing it like, you know, adults, but like none of us kids had been sitting there thinking like, oh man, you could clear that, you could turn the double into a triple and then could triple out. Like nobody to that natural hillside. Nobody, none of me and the friends I was there with and racing with, none of us that had ever crossed their mind as a possibility, like even for the big bike riders, right? Then, as he proceeds to catch up to the pack, you know, lap goes by, another lap goes by, he passes everyone in the blink of an eye, catches them and passes everyone in literally the blink of an eye, right? I can't remember which lap he did it on, and I feel like he only did it one time because we were kind of hoping he would do it again. But at one point, as he's coming through the pack, and he gets slowed down by some of the riders, he has to double down this rhythm lane. But then once he doubled it and got past the guy, there was nobody in front of him, at least not for long enough. to matter. So he doubles, because he can't do his triple move. He's got rider in the way. Doubles, and then quads the rest of the rhythm lane out, all the way to the natural hillside roller. And if everyone thought triple was crazy, double quad through there was nuts. And he proceeds to come around and lap his way all the way back up to third place in a 5-lap race with sub 1 minute lap times. Now, why does this matter? He's on a different level. He is on a different level. However, he could not, in years of his motocross supercross career, get more than 3 top 10 finishes while racing against McGrath, Carmichael, Stewart, and Chad Reed, not to mention a handful of others. I mean, he was K-Dam would have been in there. Kevin Windham people would probably race with him at some point. Like, he could not touch those guys. But at your local race, he wasn't just better than everybody. He was better than everybody by like a lap and a half in a 5-minute 5-lap race. So, just on an absolute another level. So, if you've never seen a motocross race professionally, go watch one. If you need it in context, there's my best attempt to put it in context, how fast these guys are. And if you're watching it and you're thinking to yourself, man, those guys that are coming in like last place, what are they even doing out there? They're awful. Like, I could probably do that. No, you couldn't. I promise you, you couldn't. Because those guys can go to any local track in their area, and they are the guy to beat. Like, they're dominating all of their local races around their hometown, no questions asked. You're not on the same level. And then they are not on the same level as the top shelf, top 5 guys. So, that is the only time I've ever seen a pro rider race an actual race, because I've never been to a motocross or supercross event in my life. On top of that, he was not the guy at the time. He was top 10 3 times in his career, which spanned from memory probably 5 or 6 years, 02, 03 to 07, 08, maybe 09, something like that. And he could not touch those top guys. Pace-wise, he maybe could have held their pace, and maybe he just didn't have the endurance to do it for, 20 laps or something. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch old footage, but the point stands that these guys are on another level. And the same goes for every discipline of riding. If you're into sport bikes and you think, like, yeah, MotoGP guys are fast, but for whatever reason, you're an idiot and you're thinking like, oh, they ain't that good, they ain't that fast. I'm pretty good. I could hang on the street with them. No, you can't. You cannot. You cannot touch the slowest guy in those classes, much less the top tier guys. So anyway, my little story time for you today, and hope y'all found it amusing, interesting. It's a fond memory for me to look back on and just think. I try to wrap my head around how good some people are on 2 wheels. It's absolutely insane. So anyway, I will catch y'all in the next one.